Do you sometimes scratch your head and wonder why governments do what they do? Texas may be making a bonehead move. Stay with me. You and I have an insatiable appetite for electricity. Come with me and we'll look at the issues relative to wind farms and the communities that they serve. This is the Windfarm Guy. Hi, this is Dennis Stout, and thank you for joining me for this episode of the Windfarm Guy. I love Texas. I'm a West Texas boy, and I grew up in the oil patch. I have friends and family that have worked in the oil and gas industry, both directly and indirectly, and I don't want any of them to hurt. Texans are proud that Texas easily leads the nation in oil and gas production, and the Lone Star State is also a leader in renewable energy production. But the two industries face different prospects in the legislature. Texas lawmakers aggressively defend fossil fuels and propose billions in new public spending for natural gas plants. At the same time, they're targeting renewables, proposing limits on growth, and pushing the new requirements that would drive up costs for wind and solar power, and subsequently the end consumer's electricity bill. ERCOT is the largest electricity market in the United States, and it has been said that state leaders are intent on picking winners and losers. Let me explain. If Texas were a country, it would rank 5th in the world in renewables. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick admitted recently, "We have invested heavily in renewables." But now he wants to slow that down and route money to natural gas plants. Now, incentivizing more gas plants, which provided over 42% of Texas electricity last year, sounds like it may be a good idea. However, generation capacity from natural gas grew a mere 3% over the 5 years from 2017 to 2022. Wind power, on the other hand, grew 46% over the same period, and solar grew even faster and from a smaller base. Energy experts believe that penalizing fast-growing renewables would harm consumers and the economy. Dr. Joshua Rhodes, a research scientist at the University of Texas at Austin, said, "Wind and solar have been doing great things for Texas in terms of keeping prices lower and providing a lot of economic development in parts of the state that don't get much of it." Rhodes estimated from 2010 to 2022, the extensive addition of renewables cut wholesale electricity prices by nearly $28 billion. And in the first 8 months of 2022, renewables saved consumers around $925 million a month. Billions more were saved in water and emission reductions. He determined that renewables provided upwards of $106 billion in total benefits to Texas residents from 2010 to 2022. According to data from the Advanced Power Alliance, the renewable energy industry also accounts for over 42,000 Texas jobs and will pay over $11 billion to landowners just from existing wind, solar, and storage facilities over their expected lifetime. And that doesn't even include the swell of projects under development today. Lieutenant Governor Patrick was being disingenuous when he said, "We have invested heavily in renewables," as if there hasn't been investment in natural gas. Private investors, not the government, decide where to invest in Texas's competitive electric market. The Power Alliance estimates that investors have poured $93 billion into wind, solar, and battery storage projects around the state. At the federal level, those federal incentives are tax credits, not investments. Renewables also are the most popular choice going forward, by far. Through July of 2024, renewables account for 29,000 megawatts that are proposed for the ERCOT grid, which would be enough electricity to power 5.8 million Texas homes at peak demand. Over that same time period, natural gas power producers propose adding just only 1,700 megawatts, which means renewables accounts for nearly 95% of the proposed generation in the ERCOT pipeline. Jeffrey Clark, CEO of the Advanced Power Alliance, said, "If you think you're helping oil and gas by hurting renewables, you don't understand what the future looks like." He said it's like lawmakers want to go back to the 1980s. They're just going to stop all progress in Texas and hope the world stops with them. And that's just not going to happen. Renewables lower the price of power for you and me and businesses too. And they're also important to many firms working to reduce their carbon footprint. Look at it this way. Wind is the cheapest form of new electricity generation today. It's a fact. So, what do you think happens when a utility company that buys electricity for you and I to use, when they tell a natural gas electricity provider, hey, we can buy wind electricity for X dollars. You either match it or we're buying more from wind. Yes, wind keeps your electricity bills down. Clark said that these Senate proposals are designed to punish renewable energy and to subsidize natural gas. Why? Misinformation. Renewables have been blamed for the epic blackouts of February 2021. A devastating winter storm shut down much of the Texas grid for days, causing over 200 deaths and billions of dollars in damages. If you're looking for fault, it isn't wind's. All energy sources suffered, including gas. Natural gas units accounted for 58% of the electricity generation that went down, according to reports by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and others. That places between 1/2 and 2/3 of those outages squarely on the shoulders of natural gas. Wind accounted for only about a quarter, 27% of missing generation. Coal, 6%, and solar, only 2%. Wind actually carried the grid through parts of that storm. If you like what we've discussed today, please subscribe and click like below. If you have thoughts or want me to address a topic relative to wind farms, please also leave me a comment. Currently, gas plants provide the most of the electricity in Texas and set the price on the competitive market. Wind and solar offer significant savings for consumers, along with environmental benefits. And let's not forget that renewables also reduce exposure to natural gas price swings, which can be driven high by world events, such as Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Allison Silverstein, an energy consultant who formerly worked with the FERC and the Public Utility Commission of Texas, said, "This is the challenge of the energy transition. We use different resources for different purposes, and they all play different roles. We need to use all these resources effectively and in complementary ways." Sounds like wisdom to me. At both the state and federal levels, a wise energy strategy is an inclusive strategy, one that promotes success in all our energies. If we depend on another country for an energy source, we make ourselves vulnerable. If we push our consumers' prices up, we make ourselves weak. And if we limit the number of the acceptable energy sources, we make ourselves unprepared. Texas, we lead the country in oil and gas production. We also lead the country in renewable energy generation. How about we lead the country in wise economic decisions as well? This is Dennis Stout, and I'm the Windfarm Guy. Thank you for watching. Working together, we can make good energy decisions and save our planet. I am the Windfarm Guy.